Okay, sweet.
Right.
So we're recording.
Awesome. See you guys later.
All right. Thanks, Vid. Peace. Okay. So backend sometimes can have functionality, or front end can sometimes have functionality, but it's usually limited, kind of in the scope. Backend is where we're going to be dealing with all the relational data, or possibly not relational, but don't even worry about relational. Just worry about databases. Backend is where we deal with all of the databases and retrieving that information and storing that information. So that is and so yeah, like the first example that comes to mind when you think about backend is the login system. Sign up, log in, boom, you're there on the page. So if unless you guys have any suggestions as to how to proceed, I will show you what I kind of put together for the website up until this point. Exit full screen. Let's see, I gotta, just so that the recording isn't, 5 heads on a screen, I'm gonna share my screen and show everything that I'm doing, even if this first part is just clearing out all of these windows. All right.
Is that high contrast?
Oh, of course, dude.
I actually hate high contrast. Hurts my eyes.
Night owl, high contrast. And yeah, I actually I understand that even I get a little tired of it sometimes, but I like that even less. So
yeah, that one doesn't look that much better. Yeah, this is what my VS Code looks like.
Oh, but that's not the one that I wanted though. For those who may be watching the video, skip ahead a little bit. Oh, here we go.
Real gold.
This is it. Okay, this is the theme. Okay, so first of all, I'll just go ahead and show what Zach has done. Oh, right, because he didn't use a virtual environment, and anytime I use Flask, it's in a virtual environment, so now I have to install Flask. Whatever. Okay, so now we have that up and running. Let's see the web page. Localhost. So this is what Zach's been putting together for today's meeting. This is all done with templates and Jinja. For example, in the home script, we see that we have the header layout HTML and the footer, and this is everything that's actually different on the home page. So if we go to the header, we see that we have this nav bar here, which is this. And that, because it's in the header layout, it's going to persist in any page that uses that header layout. I'm not a big front end guy, but back end kind of needs to know what front end is doing, and vice versa. So we're just touching on this. We're not going into the tags and whatever. And we just have a very basic, website. Not really any content quite yet. And now, if I switch to my branch, we can talk about branches later. We don't need to go into it too much right now. source.env/scripts/activate. And now if I run it, let's see what we have. It's going to be the same, but now when we go to the register page, we have these forms here, right? So I'm just gonna give it some forms. Right now my passwords are matching. When we sign up, we have it displaying our username. So that's pretty neat. Don't worry about this. This doesn't necessarily have to be here because right now we're using a post request. I'll get into all this in a little bit. One thing to note about this right here is that our information is not persisting. We are it's only affecting this one instance of this web page. So now if we actually, if we get rid of that and then we refresh, now that we get rid of that, and okay, our username is gone. So before we get too deep into it, one more thing I just want to demonstrate is that Flask provides validation capabilities without too much programming. So if I type in passwords that do not match, bam, must be equal to a password. Or if I don't type in a valid email, but valid passwords, invalid email goes. Cool stuff. So let's get into what exactly is going on. And what we're going to talk about is forms and requests. And we need forms and requests to kind of lead into talk about databases, which we'll do probably next. All right. So I take it you guys don't have the new front end files. Is that correct? No, you don't? Okay. So this is going to be a good opportunity to get you guys the repo information. Let's go here. Do you guys have access to the repo at the moment? Do you know?
I haven't tried. I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. View code. Okay, so I'm going to copy the repo address and then put it in the chat.
Do you have it up on the Code.io website, or is this your own repo?
This is the code.io repo. It's under, it says Chris Alex Save / because I'm a collaborator, but it is managed by Matt, I believe. Yeah, so forked from IU code.io website. Oh, okay, this is that. Yeah, don't use that link that I just posted. Use this link. Huh. I don't know how I ended up forking it. I thought I just made a branch. Okay, well, that's something that I need to deal with later, I guess.
Do I use my personal GitHub or can I use my IU one?
Either or. Doesn't really matter. So try cloning that. If it doesn't work, we'll worry about that later. And let me know if it is either failing or succeeding once someone has it up.
I was able to clone the GitHub successfully.
Okay, so it works. Awesome. Cool. Let me just get back to the.
Can you just remind us again how to clone it?
Yeah. So let's see. When you go to the GitHub, you'll see this little green code button here. You're gonna, I mean, you could download the zip. That's one way to do it, but the better way to do it is if you copied this link. And then if you're in Visual Studio Code, you press Control-Shift-P to bring up the command palette. And then you type in git clone, and you should see that pop up. Press enter, paste in the address, and then you choose where to save it. After you choose where to save it, I'll just make a new one here. You can click open, and that'll take you right to it.
And this kind of works like the C200 folder where I can just pull if there's anything new added to it.
Yep. We're not going to worry too much about pulling at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, just so follow along. And actually, let's see. Oh, snap, I didn't open that in a new window. Whoops. New window. Perfect. Okay. All right. All right. And so I'm not sure how much we want to talk about Git. What I have been doing, because this is what people in the industry do if they're doing it correctly, is they will not work on the main or master branch. They will always work on a separate branch and then merge to master when they're ready. That's a little bit, if you guys are taking C200, that might be a little bit confusing. But
That's the git checkout if you're using a command line.
yeah, git checkout. And then if I go to switch branch to main, now if you can see down here, I'm in main. Now if I do git checkout branch backend 1, I'm switched to the backend 1 branch. And if you are editing any code that we push into main or master, I would make a new branch once I pull from master, so that if you were to push and you had a mistake, a catastrophic mistake, it wouldn't blow up the entire code base. That's basically the reason why people do it. Anyway, that's I don't want to talk about Git all day. If you're still in the main branch, that's fine. Just don't push to it if you've made any changes. So if you guys are able to see this, follow along, and then the video is also going to be up at some point. So here's where all the cool stuff happens. Now we can start talking about actual code. So here we have the main Python file. We have our routes, home, about, calendar, videos. What we're going to do is we are going to just copy one of these and paste it below. Only after we paste, obviously, we have to change the names of some of the stuff. So I'm going to make this a register page. And we don't have a register.html quite yet. So we can go ahead and make one now. We can make one later, but I'm going to make one now. And just kind of copy the contents of another page into it. Change it to register.
Is it possible for you to zoom in a little bit or no?
Oh yeah. Oh, my bad. I usually, yeah, sorry. I usually try to do that. I forgot this time.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's much better for a Zoom call, 100%. So yeah, with the bigger screen, to recap what I just did, copied one of the other pages and pasted it here, changed all the names to register. Then I made a register.html file under templates, copied the contents of one of the other ones and put it in register.html, changing some minor stuff. Okay, so now if we run that, it's not going to be too interesting. We basically just end up with this, you know, this front end, the same front end that we had. And let's see if we go to our register page.
What was the line of code you ran to start it though?
Oh yeah. So to run the server, I ran py main.py. If you're on a Mac or Linux, you're going to have to run Python 3 main.py. And so this is what the register page looks like. Very unexciting at the moment, but that's fine. We'll make it more exciting here in a second. So real quick, if we see here, we actually get readouts of the log, of the information log for the server. So right now we got a GET request to the first page, the root, and then we got a GET request for register. Now, GET is the default request, and it's basically if you want to throw any parameters into a GET request or arguments, it's like we talked about that one week where, you know, we have something like this. This isn't going to do anything at the moment. This is just how it would be formatted. With the question mark argument name equals Chris. So GET requests, they are very easy. They're fast, and the only downside is that they're not secure. So anyone could go up here, type in something, and they could, if we weren't smart, they could attack our website through one of these arguments. So a more secure way to do it is called a post request, and we will deal with that in just a moment. Before we can deal with that, we have to make some forms. And okay, so what I'm doing here is in the root directory, I am making a forms.py file. That file is blank at the moment. And here is what we are going to type in. So we need a couple of modules to run forms. Now the first module we need is Flask-WTF, which doesn't stand for what you think it stands for. It stands for WT forms. See, WT forms. And then, oh, actually, I think that's all we need to download. So from there, we're going to do from Flask _ WTF import Flask form.
Sorry, what was the line of code? I had a problem like VS Code.
Oh, for installing WT forms?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pi-m, or on Mac, Python 3-m, pip install flask dash WTF.
Hey, quick question.
Hmm?
So I see that you're in Bash. How do you get there?
Yeah, so for C200, you should have installed git bash,
Mm,
which is, whoops, this thing over here. Now you can also make that the default terminal for VS Code. If we go to this little drop down here where it says bash,
Okay.
for you it might say something different. Select default shell at the bottom, and then you are given a list of options.
Okay.
I chose a git bash.
So do I have to install git bash?
If you have not already, then yes, you have to have some sort of bash to be able to use it.
Okay. I have the GitHub little what's it called? exe, like the basic GitHub app, but I don't have.
I actually don't have that. Yeah, git bash is a different thing. As we see, we have also Windows Linux subsystem bash. I haven't checked that out at all. If you're using command prompt or PowerShell, it's not going to screw with you too much. So I wouldn't worry about it. Definitely get bash, but for right now, it's not that pertinent. Anyway, this is the command to install WT forms. And from WT forms, we import Flask form. Now, this is going to be the library that does a lot of the heavy lifting. And when working with Flask, it's not as much, sometimes it's not as much programming as it is working with the framework. So, for example, right now I'm typing stuff in, but I'm literally just following directions that I found online to get this stuff to work. And you know what? That's perfectly okay. You know what? We don't have to rebuild the wheel every time we want to make a new project. Sometimes it's better to just look up a tutorial and follow it. And then edit it to make it ours, which is how most of my personal projects have unfolded. Now, I hope you guys don't mind that I just, for this next part, I'm just going to copy paste because it's a lot. And for your convenience, I'll post all the imports into the chat. Okay. Now to make, we have to make our own forms class. And to do that, we do in Python class let's do registration form. That is the class name. Right now, that is starting with an empty class, which does not help us. What we need to do, and you'll learn more about this in 2.12, is we need to inherit from Flask form. That means that this class in Flask form, or class called Flask form, that's going to be the base for this form, which means registration form is going to take everything that's in Flask form, and we're just going to add on to that. This unlocks a bunch of functionality that is already in this library, or this library. Don't worry if you're not completely understanding why we're doing some of these things, because like I said, it's just a lot of it's just working with the framework. So now we're going to make our fields. So we have a username field, an email field, and a password and confirm password field. So let's go username, and that's going to be our string field. And see, we're importing string field from WT forms. Oh wow. Sorry, I'm trying to look at two different screens at once and it's not working out as well as I wanted to. Just give me one moment. Okay. Oh, that's much better. All right, so we need to give each one a name, username. This is going to be a bit of typing, so I'm just going to type it out and then paste it in the chat. So now we got to pass in the validators argument. What the validators argument is going to do is it's going to do some of that stuff like how when I demonstrated unmatching passwords, it stops us from proceeding and then tells us that our passwords don't match. That's what the validators keyword argument will do. And here is more of the framework stuff. We have to say that the username needs data. And we're also saying that the length, like right here, length, needs to be a minimum of 2 characters and a maximum of 20 characters. We don't need anything here, like it would work with just this, but we want to validate, so we're going to keep that in. Next, we're just going to copy and paste this 3 more times and alter it from there. So we can do email. Now we need not string field, but oh yeah, I guess it is string field. So still keep string field here. And it's going to be email, validators, data required. We don't need length in here, but we do need to validate that it's a proper email. Now password equals, and this is different because password fields are hidden and get deleted when we come back to a page, unlike username stuff. And actually, I imported wrong. This needs to be password field, not password. So password field.
Or a lot of the variables here like kind of handled automatically by the cache that Flask is kind of managing for us. Like if I leave the page and come back, that's kind of automatically saved in the background. Like we don't have to implement anything for that.
Exactly. And that goes back to, you know, not reinventing the wheel. Flask will do all of this for you, like Jack said. Now, for this one, we need data required, but to confirm the password, we also want to make sure that it is equal to the first password. And for that, we use this equal to class and throw in the variable name of password. So this is how all our, oh, this is still username. So this is how forms are set up. Just the basic way forms are set up is that we use prepackaged forms from Flask. And for a submit button, we're going to do submit fields, give it a name of sign up. And that is all we have to do for registration. I will copy and paste this into the chat so you guys have it. All right. That's all well and good, but now we need to actually display our forms. And this part is not great. I don't do a lot of front end, and I don't do a lot of Jinja. So I hope you guys don't hate me for what I'm about to do, but I literally just copy and pasted stuff from the internet for this. Now this looks like a lot, but remember we have 4 forms. So is it? Oh, it looks like there's a limit for how much text you could post in a Zoom chat. So I'm going to add you all to the Backend Slack channel. In Stevenson, okay. So I just added you also the Backend Slack channel, and there you will see the code that I copy pasted. But we are going to go a little bit into what things do. So here we just have the same kind of deal as the other pages. We have a main div tag and a header called sign up. But for the forms, we made another div. And then we added this form tag, which is telling HTML that whatever is inside of here is going to be an actionable form. Now the method is post. That should sound familiar from earlier in the call. This is the secure method of a request method. So any information that is sent with a post method is not sent in the URL like with a get method. A post method, and Jack, please correct me if I'm wrong, that's sent in the request header. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. It sends in like all the form data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not visible to the user, which is the main point. Action, we would worry about action if this was basic HTML, but we're not going to worry about it here because it's Flask. This is basically wherever you're sending it to, I believe. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure. And so here we have Jinja. Here we're adding a form.hidden tag variable. And I don't even know what this does, but the internet told me that it's necessary to make these forms. So it's here now. And it wouldn't work without it. Then we have a field set. Don't worry about that either. Pretty much just worry about, we're going to just take a look at this. And it's basically going to be like very similar to this, just copy and paste it a bunch. We're almost done here. I know it's 8 o'clock. So this says insert the label of the username form, which is just username. Here, this is our label. Now this is where the validation comes in. If form.username.errors, so if there, and we only have data required in a length, so if either of these requirements are not met, then this stuff is going to occur. And it's going to output an error for us. Otherwise, it's just going to be the username form. Now, if we look back at, oh, I guess it wasn't the right. Yeah, this was the one part of the tutorial where I was a little bit skeptical of how it was all going to work out. But pretty much we're programmatically showing what we need to show. We're showing the label, and then we're showing the username form. But if there are errors, we are also showing the errors. That's essentially what's happening here. Now, for the sake of time, we're going to move on to actually sending a post request. So here, we want to send just the username. So let's make a variable for that. If there's no, if we're not sending anything, let's just initialize it with an empty string. Oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong function. might be, that's actually going to go in the home function later. What's going to go in the register function is we're going to initialize our form. That basically tells Flask that we're going to be using the form class that we just made. Everything else is going to be handled. Oh, and we got to also render the form too. So now we have to validate it. If form.validates on submit. Again, I would not have known any of this if I had not looked online. So don't be scared. In reality, a lot of people don't know what they're talking about. Some just hide it better. Oh, real quick though, app.logger.info is going to display stuff that happens in the log here. So I was just writing some of this stuff to troubleshoot last night, but I think it's good, important to note that. All right. Now, okay, I'm gonna kind of speed through this. Would you guys? Actually, let me get your opinion. Would you guys like to? Do you have time to meet up later in the week, or do you want to continue now or continue next week? Because I know we're already going over the time.
I'm good to go now.
Okay. We don't have a ton more. I'm mostly just going to be typing this stuff out, explaining as I go. So if request.method equals post, that means if the forms request is a post, which it is, then do the stuff down in in the body here. So I'm just going to do here. I'm just going to log that it was a post request. We don't need to do this usually, but I was doing it last night. See where I was. Request.form is where the arguments are going to live for a post request in Flask. Request.form. And then we have to redirect to the URL for the home function. So, okay. To do that, we also need to install, or not install, but we need to import redirect and URL for, because we haven't defined them anywhere in our code, but we use them here, and they're from Flask. Also, we have to remember to import the registration form that we just made. Otherwise, Flask doesn't know what we're talking about, or Python doesn't know what we're talking about. Almost there. We have to also put in this method keyword argument in the decorator. I guess we don't need get, but no harm in leaving it. So now that we're redirecting to home, we need home to be able to accept a GET request, which means that we're going to be doing, is it methods or method? Methods. We're going to be allowing get and post methods for home. Now here's where we're initializing the name. This is what's going to show up. Now, if we see that there is a posts, and I'm being there we go, bad programmer here. So now if we see that we've gotten a post request, now we can make name equal space plus request.form username. So this is retrieving the information from the form, the username form that we put in and we're retrieving it into the name variable. Now I'm just going to copy and paste this because I don't want to type it. This is, if we did everything right, this is going to show up in the log. So now, if we did everything right, there's at least one thing that we didn't. It should work. Install email validator for email support. I guess we should do that then, shouldn't we? Will that work? Nope. The good old copy paste into Google. Oh, so it's literally just email underscore form, okay. Or email underscore validator. All right, so now that we have that installed, now we're running it. Go back to here. Method not allowed. Oh, because the default method is the get method, meaning that we do need a get tag up here. All right. Refresh that. Oh, secret key. God damn it, dude. There's so much that you'll find this with any framework. You just kind of need to do it to see all the quirks. So I made a secret key last night, and it basically what the error message is saying is that for the forms stuff we need a secret key for it to work. Anyway, ta-da! Now we have forms. Just gonna give it some dummy stuff, not matching passwords to see that it's not valid. Oh, but we never mind. Yeah, so now if I type in something valid and click sign up, it's going to redirect us to the home page. But what's crazy is that we don't see anything. So what's happening? We logged that we were validated, and we logged where we were, and so it says we got a post request, but we can see here that it's being interpreted as a GET request. I just want to share that this took me like an hour and a half to figure out, but apparently the default code for a post request isn't always interpreted as one anymore. I may be wrong as to the details of that, but that's what I gathered. So to fix this, what we have to do is we have to add a code keyword argument to the redirect here. And now, when we type in some valid forms, oh shit, we still don't, oh, yeah, now I know why, because we didn't actually put our variable in the home HTML page. Huh. Says Chris is in. Oh,
it looks like you're not passing it yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, yeah. Hi, Chris.
What's up? Well, this is the last part that I just want to. There we go. Okay, so that ended up being a lot more talking than I expected it would be. But
Yeah, I also ran over, but I just cut it short.
Yeah, we're all learning here. So I'll send over the link to my fork, just so you can just so you guys can see everything that I did. Matt, I'm gonna correct the fork later to be an actual branch. I don't know how that happened, but
Yeah, it's all good. You can send in the front end and back end Slack also, or the front end and back end Slack also.
well, in that case, I'll just send it in the general
Yeah, that's fine.
and back end. I don't think I'm
I'll
part of the front end.
send my message too now.
Okay. So I know you guys probably have questions, but unfortunately, we may have to not do those because I gotta go. Apparently, Ahmed left.
Apparently, what?
Ahmed left. Oh, he's here. Oh, maybe you just weren't showing up.
You thought he left.
No, I'm right here.
All right. I was gonna say I'm seeing you soon anyway, but yeah. So you guys probably have questions. Because that went over, I will make myself available for the rest of the week if you guys want to reach out. But otherwise, take a look at the code in the Git repo that I sent.
So I actually have a real quick question. Do you know what the 302 and 307 codes are for post requests?
Is this the question being like, I know the answer, I want to see if
I do not know the answer.
Okay.
That's another hour and a half of research he has to do now.
Yo, okay, so there I will send the Stack Overflow thing that
Bad.
saved my life though. Because I would never have been able to figure this out on my own.
Stack Overflow is low key a lifesaver.
What?
What? Nothing.
What?
He's one of my TAs, so I can't say too much.
Oh, bro. Oh. I see what. Don't even worry about it, dude.
Okay, cool.
Just be, don't be an idiot about it.
No, yeah, no shit.
It's all good. Okay,
I really
so
only use it when I'm literally dumbfounded of what the hell I'm looking at.
yeah, that's exactly when you should be resorting to Stack Overflow. I just sent the link. Many web browsers implemented this code in a manner that violated the standard, changing the request type of the new request to GET, regardless of the. You guys can read that if you want. I'm not gonna sit here and read it aloud.
Man, I missed that whole response because I got kicked.
What? Oh, it's in the chat. Can you see the chat?
No, it gets cleared when you join a room, right?
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna
Checked.
post it in general.
Throw it
Okay,
in.
cool.
Throw
I don't know. My internet sucks, man. I'm in my kitchen right now.
I think the 30-second thing that I looked up, it's just that it doesn't change the body when something's automatically redirected. So 307 just forces the browser to hold on to the body when something's redirected.
Isn't a 300 code an error?
307.
No, like a 3XX.
I was looking at the difference between the 307 and 302 in regards to GET.
Well, it's weird because 2XX means it's okay. So 3XX means not okay. Or it should.
Okay, guys.
Hey guys, I gotta bounce. I guess gotta is a strong word, but anyway.
He's ditching us. He has to go do something else.
I want to leave.
Like I was saying, I'll make myself available for you guys this week if you want to go over the code that we ran. So just hit me up in a DM or something like that.
But don't forget to end the recording.
Oh, snap.
Ooh, good call. Good